Beep, beep. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this thing that we like to call Northern News Now Plus on the Northern News Now Plus app. I'm your host, Matt Rasmussen, morning director slash local filmmaker slash king of Halloween slash host of Movie Mondays with Matt. We'll take that off there. Boink. There we go. Let's get this boxing glove on here. First and foremost, today's episode is about Rocky IV. One of my favorite Rocky movies, and I think that's the general populace. There we go. Sorry I don't look exactly like Rocky. This is the closest I could get on short notice. He does wear black and gold at one point, a robe, and then this is his streetwalker cap, and he usually has the the red boxing gloves, but whatever. These are the ones I could find on short notice. So I tried. I have a Rambo lunchbox. I have Rocky IV on DVD there. I have some Rock'em Sock'em robots. It's something. So, yeah, we talked about Rocky this morning on the show. Well, we'll get into it a little bit more in just a second. First, we're going to report the box office figures here, and we're going to do it without the aid of video. So, let's take a quick look at our box office figures. Number 5 for this week. The historical thriller Nuremberg began its run in 5th place, earning $4.1 million. The number 4, Sarah's Oil, it didn't exactly strike it rich, but it opened in 4th place, winning $4.5 million. The number 3, Black Phone 2. Love that one, by the way. Finally got to see it not long ago. Fell to 3rd place, smashing in $5.3 million, slashing into $5.3 million. Then Colleen Hoover's Regretting You made $7.1 million for a 2nd place finish. Then lastly, a huge one, very excited for this, Predator Badlands, number 1 in the box office this week. It obliterated the competition, opening with $40 million. That is a record debut for not just like a Predator spin-off or sequel, but the entire franchise. That is a high for this entire franchise. It even outgrossed Alien vs. Predator, which was a huge deal in 2004. I remember going to that one opening day. It was a big deal. So that means there will be more Predator movies coming, and yay, that's what we need. We'll talk a little bit more about Predator in the future here. But first, we're going to shift focus back to Rocky. Yeah! Da, 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 da. So, what is there to say about Rocky IV? The reason that that's the flick of the week is because it's back in theaters to celebrate its 40th anniversary. And not only that, it's the brand new director's cut made by Stallone himself. He went through and found all kinds of footage from scenes that were cut, things he didn't know if he was going to use, and things that, you know, moved things in the direction that he originally envisioned it being. And he restitched together the entire movie from scratch and created this ultimate director's cut of Rocky IV called Rocky vs. Drago. And it's kind of funny that that's back in theaters now because, yes, that movie came out in theaters originally in November of 2021. So this is that new cut from 3 years ago. It's a re-release of a re-release, 4 years ago, re-release of a re-release. But overall, Rocky IV is celebrating its 40th anniversary. And next year, just a few weeks, it'll be the 50th anniversary of Rocky in general. And there are so many flicks that have come out in this franchise. It's kind of mind-boggling. And that used to be like the big running gag, you know, with other Hollywood films like Spaceballs. There's the scene where they go to the little video store display there, and there's like 100,000 Friday the 13th movies, 100,000 Rocky movies. And they're not wrong. There are kind of 100,000 Rocky movies. So let's recap the franchise a little bit, huh? We have the first 5 Rocky movies came out in that original run from 76 until I think 1990 maybe was Rocky V, or 91, probably 1990. And then that was the end of that franchise originally. That was just kind of it. But you can't stop Rocky, so They released Rocky VI in 2006, which was called Rocky Balboa. And then, again, it seemed like maybe that was the end of the franchise, but nope. Now we have these spin-offs called Creed. And these started coming out, I believe, 2013 and 2018, if I'm right. And then 2022 or 2023 was Creed 3. And Rocky's in those. He's not in Creed 3, unfortunately, but Rocky comes back, and it gives more dimension to his character. It adds more to his timeline and what he has going on. And you know, Rocky's fighting cancer, and Rocky had a fallout with his son, and he needs to mend fences and so forth. And it's fun to see what's going on, but it's also fun to see what's going on with Creed as well, played by Michael B. Jordan. So those are good movies. And that's not the end of the franchise. Michael B. Jordan said that he is planning a Creed 4. He's also looking into, well, Stallone's looking into an actual Rocky sequel, potentially, like a Rocky, straight-up Rocky 7, if you will. And then they're talking about an actual spin-off featuring Drago, which will probably just be called Drago. And it sounds like they have, oh, why am I blanking on his name? Action star. He played He-Man. He plays Drago. Wow. Shame me. I'm totally forgetting his name. I know his name. It's just on the tip of my tongue here. Anyway, you know the guy. He plays Ivan Drago. He'll be Dolph Lundgren. There it is. Came to me. He was talking about a spinoff for a long time now, and there was a little bit of heat there with the I guess the studio and the people who own the Rocky name, like, won't let Stallone in on, you know, rights and, you know, royalties is owed and things like that. So it gets a little murky there with rights and things like that. But we don't got to talk about that stuff. We're not here for that stuff. We're here to talk about Rocky. So let's recap the franchise a little bit. I like to do one of those little things. So Rocky came out in '76. Rocky shows up. He wants to prove that he's somebody, and he fights Apollo Creed, and he meets his goal of going the distance, and he goes the distance. And although he loses in the end with a split decision call, doesn't matter. Rocky's just happy that he met his goal, and that he actually went there, and his name is out there now, and people know who he is. So then Rocky 2, he's in the hospital, the fight's over. Of course Apollo Creed isn't satisfied, and he wants to make sure that everyone knows that he's the champ. So, rematch between these two. Very good, Rocky 2. And then, you know, that's how that goes, and then Rocky wins. Rocky 3, he fights Mr. T this time. You know, Rocky 3 might be my favorite. I know Rocky 4 is the favorite of most fans. I like Rocky 3 a lot. I think a lot of things were done really well that set up the formula that then Rocky 4 took and ran with, like the opening montage with the Eye of the Tiger is playing, and it's the whole Rocky's rising to stardom and fame and riches, and you're seeing all this and you're living it with him. And that was an amazing montage. And then Fao does the same thing in the start. I don't think it did it as well, because 3, you see it for the first time. It seemed a little tighter cut as well. But 3, you know, he has Mr. T. He's fighting Clubber Lang. And then you have a little Hulk Hogan cameo in there as well. I thought 3 was just super fun. Super fun. Rocky reaches his peak of fame in Rocky 3. And there just wasn't a dull moment for me. Then we get into Rocky 4, and it's Rocky says in every movie he's going to retire, right? And he doesn't retire. Sometimes he tries to retire and someone pulls him out of retirement. It's always a thing. It's a recurring joke with Rocky. This guy can't retire. So he's wanting to retire. Apollo Creed is going to go and fight Drago, and bad things happen. You know, Drago kills Apollo, and it's sad. It's very sad. You know, it's a 40-year-old movie. This isn't a spoiler here. So it's very sad. So then Rocky feels obligated to step in to avenge his friend, and it's a whole thing. He has to go to Russia. You know, it's a fun movie in general, and there's a lot more. There's the political undercurrent and overcurrent of what was going on at the time. You have Dolph Lundgren, who is like one of the greatest baddies ever, and they forged quite a friendship behind the scenes. And those two worked together on a lot of stuff afterwards. Expendables, and again, you know, Creed 2, he comes back and the whole thing. So that. Of course, that was fun. I'd say that's peak Rocky with Foe. Peak Rocky. That's the peak of his career. It's all great. And then 5 rolls around, and that is exactly the downturn of his career. And that's why maybe some people don't find it as fun, but we kind of needed that. Like, everyone has those ups and downs in their career, and 4 was him rising to his peak. 5 was him crashing. Everything is gone. His fame, his fortune, it's all taken away. His health, and, you know, and Rocky doesn't do a lot of fighting in 5. He just kind of walks around and wishes he was fighting, but knowing that he can't because it could probably kill him. And he has to train a new kid who then he has to spar with at the end, even though knowing that it could kill him. And he winds up doing well with that battle as well. And then that's kind of the end of the franchise right there for that little run. Then he comes back, yes, in Rocky Balboa, and he's pulled out of retirement. There's a cartoon fight that is pointed out to him by Paulie, and you know, everyone pressures him into actually fighting for real. So he goes and does it, and it's a whole thing. It's great. And then you see, you know, more stuff with his son and being estranged with his son and stuff. And then that's kind of the end of that one. Then Creed 1, 2, and 3 happen. You know, Rocky has a much smaller role in those, but he's training Creed, you know, and that's always fun. It's good to see him in that mentor role with someone that, you know, it's the bloodline of his best friend. So that's pretty cool. And then, you know, and then there's no Rocky in Creed 3, so that's kind of the end of the timeline for now. And that's your recap on the Rocky franchise. So, if you never had any desire to watch them, now I've told you all the things that happen, but please go and watch them. They're all fun movies. There's not a bad one in the bunch. A lot of people like to, you know, make fun of 5, but it's fine. It's part of the franchise. Just enjoy it for what it is. So we have that. We talked a little bit on the show about how Madison Green here is from Philly, and Rocky is kind of a huge deal where she came from. And she ran up the stairs, she did the whole thing, she climbed up and saw the Rocky statue. You know, it's a big deal to her. I was hoping to have her like on the show here, but she's a little busy right now. But we talked about it on the morning show. So that's kind of cool. I talked about Creed 2 a little bit, how Dolph Lundgren comes back as Drago for the first time in 30-some-odd years. And you see tension still between him and Stallone. So that's my favorite of the Creed movies right there. I mean, honestly, how do you get better than a direct sequel to Rocky 4? So check out Creed 2. And that's kind of it for this week. Those are the things I wanted to talk about here. I'll tease ahead a little bit to next week. Next week is a movie I talked about already, and it's you know, it's great in the box office. I have a really expensive and crazy costume that I'll be bringing in for that. Another 80s property. That'll be fun. I don't want to like totally give it away, but it's big in the box office right now, and it's a movie I'm very excited to talk about. So, with that, this has been your Northern News Now Plus moment for Movie Mondays with Matt. And tune in next week when you'll see that 80s property I'll be talking about. And more shenanigans on the desk, more shenanigans here on the OTT desk. And in the meantime, Just keep it real, my friends. Now I got to take this glove off so I can end the stream. And take care.